We are constantly asking as a nation, especially those who hold the power reins, well, how long are these people going to have to dwell on slavery? Let's get over it. And what I want to suggest is, as we think about the stories we need to tell, think about aspects of this history that from two narratives don't much permit us to address. In investments in progressivist narratives, we want to move so quickly to the end point. And the end point is, for many of us, the point of triumph, the point of overcoming. We want to get there so fast that we tend to overlook that part of the story where there has not been movement. And here I would focus on what happens to the history of a people who can be so easily separated, to liquidate someone else's debts. What do we do, and how can we talk about not just labor that is uncompensated, but all of the brokenness that slavery engendered on generations of people? And here I would, in closing, ask us to think about that middle term in the title of the organizers, and that term is mourning. When we talk about this history, we really need to perhaps subordinate these triumphalist narratives of overcoming, of resistance, of agency, to those parts of the narrative that speak to considerable losses that can never be completely mourned.
Well, how do you respond to people who say, slavery was so yesterday, get over it, you people been free since 1865, what about my ancestors that came here for nothing? How do you respond to that?
I respond to that by looking again at the data and looking at the reality. And the fact that we have to deal with issues of structural racism. That yes, we passed and we have seen the 13th Amendment and the 14th and the 15th, this great civil rights legislation, all critical and all important. But the reality of what's embedded, not only still in law, but also in consequence in culture in American society, are directly related to the consequence of slavery and this idea of supremacy, and the fact that people and white men, and you look back to the data, you look back to the writings of that day, and in fact, everything that slavery was predicated on was the fact that white men said, we are better than black people. That allows us to enslave black people, and that sensibility still lives and is woven into the fabric of our culture. And you see it because of the reiteration of slavery into Jim Crow, into the mass incarceration of people of color. And you see it in so many other places as we deal with issues of voting, of our workforce, and other forms of law and culture that exist for us today.